Welcome back, guys, to another episode. On this episode, we're going to be fixing the trailer lights. Alright, so these are the lights I have. They're just some eBay lights. I think they were $20 for two of them. The issue I had with the last ones is they just got full of water. So as you can see, the issue with the other ones, they're just full of water at the bottom there. And so, they're going to be the new ones. They're still pretty much the same. They're just cheapy ones. You can actually see the water level there. I think rain has been filling them. There's no holes. They just don't seal very well around the whole thing. It's going to be the same issue with these ones. Plan on silicon up all this, and then there's also a groove down the center there that I plan on putting silicon down. Connected my car to the boat trailer, put the hazards on and nothing worked. So as you can see, hazard lights are flashing. Down here's the trailer plug. Here's the connector that I have. This is actually a new one. I actually replaced this. It's magnetic as well, which would stick onto something metal. Yeah, see? So to test if it's the car not working, the middle pin is the earth, and then the outside two on either side is the indicators, left and right. As you can see, the voltage keeps jumping up and down. And if we swap to the other side, currently we have the hazards on, and as you can see, it's jumping up and down. So with it on continuity, you can hear that the left one is making a beep, and the far right one is also making a beep, like the indicators. So we definitely know they're working. As you can see, nothing is flashing. That's not flashing. And you can see the car's flashing. So, what we're gonna do, chop the old wiring off, take this light off, and then we're gonna use the multimeter to see if these wires are working. So before cutting these wires, I unplugged it from the car just so none of them are getting power. I wanna just take off this heat shrink and get to actually where I soldered the wires, just because I don't want to make this wire any shorter. New lights have a raised section in the middle, and they don't have it on either side, so I'm gonna have to drill this hole bigger. There we go, it sits flush against the back now. So I think this is your negative, this is your indicator, this is your brake lights, and this is just your tail lights, so when you actually have your lights on at night. Not 100% sure, so I'm going to be testing it out. Also found online what these should be. Red should be brake, yellow is indicator, black is negative, and blue is the tail lights. So I'm going to hook them up, just temporarily, and see if that's correct. Red should be red. I think there's some solder on the end of these. Might need to put a little bit of solder on these ones. Let's try this. Red to red. I think black was ground. I think yellow was indicator. So they're all connected. No, they're not. One just came off. Ah! Almost lost them all. Temporarily wired up, not touching anything. So let's see if they work. Just looked at the footage and you could see that the brakes came on, then the indicators, and then the Parker lights. So these are all correct. So now we just need to strip back them all and solder them all up, and then wrap them with electrical tape, and then put a big piece of heat shrink over the top of it all, just so the water can't get to it, because when the trailer goes into the water, if these aren't really well insulated, they'll get corroded. So first, what you want to do is to remember to put it through the trailer. Otherwise you'll be doing this all again. And then Also put your heat shrink on now, because again, if you forget that, you would be taking it all off. Just do one at a time. I prefer to wrap them first and then solder them. I hate when they have solder on them already. You could always heat shrink all of them. That's what they were before. I just don't have small enough heat shrink for 8 wires, so I'm just going to use some electrical tape. So what you want to do is you want to put a bit of solder on the end, and then you want to put the soldering iron on the other side and feed it in through the actual wire. And if it's not heating up the wire, you can touch the wire on the hot soldering iron until it builds up on the wire, and that should heat up the wire a lot more. And then it should start flowing into the wire. You want to make sure it flows into the wire. Currently it's just sitting on top, which probably just means your soldering iron isn't hot enough yet. There we go. Once you see it start sucking it in, and that's it. That's one done. So just let that cool down for a little bit, and then you can put some electrical tape on it. Grab a bit off. Try to make sure there's no really pointy bits sticking out, otherwise it will pierce through the tape. And just wrap it around nicely. So they're all wired up now, so I'm just going to test them and make sure they all work again before I heat shrink it all. So as you can see, they all worked. So now we just need to get this heat shrink and hope that it fits over the wires. Hopefully we can fit it over all this. Might be a little tough now. This also has glue on the inside of it. It was a bit of a struggle. Probably should have used the slightly bigger one. Now I'm just going to use a heat gun to heat it up. There you have it, nice steel connection. So this actually has like glue inside of it, so it won't be coming off anytime soon. That's why it's so hard to get the original stuff off, because it was basically glued onto this. All right, last part we need to do is just silicone it up. Just got some soapy water. Just gonna clean where I'm putting the silicone. Here we just have some clear Sikka-Seal. Alright, so just going to put a small bead around it. And there we go, one light done. So it's not exactly clear, but hopefully it'll get it maybe a little bit more clearer. I'm just hoping that it seals it. So time to do the same thing on the other side. I did then was slipped a small one on this side and this side, and then put a big one over the top of it all, just because the big one probably wouldn't be able to shrink down enough to actually grip onto these ends and everything in between. So both of those together does a really nice connection. This is actually what I had it on previously, and there was no corrosion on any of these wires or anything. No salt water, nothing inside. So this is definitely really good. The other side should be all right because it did have that one piece the whole way. It was just a pain in the ass to actually get it on. Anyway, time to do the light. Moment of truth, will they both work? So as you can see, indicators, hazards, brake lights, everything worked. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. Until next time, see ya.